you've decided that you no longer want a drop fade or a high top or any one of those styles. Instead, you want to have a full head of hair or a low taper or something like that. But you've been growing out your hair for a little while. You don't know. Should you restart? Should you attempt to grow out your sides? What is the cutoff mark to when it's basically hopeless? As someone who's been growing out their hair for 4 years and recently grew out my undercut for 1 year, we went from a drop fade to a high taper in the front. I'm going to share with you, I'm going to give you a definitive answer of should you grow out your sides or should you just restart? We're not going to waste any time. We're going to hop straight into it. If you are under a year of hair growth, which means if your hair is at least under or below, under means the same thing, below 6 inches, you should just restart. Now, I know that's going to piss off a lot of people. I know this is going to be controversial. Allow me to explain myself. Okay, before you crucify me, give me a chance to defend. If you want to grow out your sides the smart way, you need to be approaching it with one goal, and that is you want to get it to a point where the sides or the undercut growth is able to braid into the longer part of your hair. Because, right, once you reach that point and you're able to braid the short hair into the long hair, you're able to spam protective styles like cornrows or pop smoke braids so it doesn't look like you're actually growing out your sides, right? Growing out your sides and growing out your hair by itself are two completely different games. And the reason is when you're growing out your hair by yourself, you don't need to hide that progress. Obviously, everyone knows that if you're growing out your hair, you're going to go through an awkward stage. This is typically anywhere between 3 months to 6 months, and that's when your hair just looks off, right? If you are under a year of hair growth, or if you can't even hide your new growth with your long hair, right? You are in the awkward stage. Now, you're in that awkward stage with your long hair. And now you want to put on another awkward stage with shorter hair. You are just asking to strip yourself away of any aura that you may have, right? So the best way for you to grow out your sides, this is the way that I did it. I'll make a separate video on the smart way. I already have it planned, all right? So I got you. But the best thing you can do for the first 6 months of growing out your sides is to hide it with your long hair. And that could be through styles like curly hair routines, box sprays, 2-strand twists, and stuff like that. But if your hair is already short, there is no way for you to hide that progress. So you are going to look extra stupid. That's why I suggest that if you are under your hair growth, or if you cannot hide the new growth with the hair that you already have, you should just restart because it's going to help you. Let me put it this way. You growing out your hair by itself will look better on you. My whole point with all of these videos is to make sure that you look and feel your best. You growing out your natural afro by itself, even if it's just short, is going to look better than you having, medium length hair, like about a year or so, and then having a giant poof underneath it and you can't even hide it. Even when you do twists, you can't hide it. When you do box braids, you can't hide it. When you do curly hair routines, you can't hide it, right? So if you are trying to preserve as much aura as possible and you're not able to hide that new growth, hide that undercut, I think it is in your best interest to cut your hair and just grow everything from scratch. I understand that sucks. That's not what you want to hear. But as your big bro giving you advice, bro, listen to me. I grew out my sides and I had 4 years of hair growth to help me out, and it still sucked. It still sucked trying to hide it. It still sucked because my hair looked like it was levitating with an afro. It still sucked because even when I got twists, I had to get mini twists because if the parting was too big, you could see the poof through it. And this is when I have to go into work. If you have to go into school and stuff like that, you don't want to do that, bro. So take my advice. If you're under a year of hair growth or you cannot hide the progress, just restart. It's in your best interest. Now, obviously, you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to take my advice and you can just do whatever you want to do. Just know that this strategy probably won't work for you. This video is for those people who want to look their best. Like, majority of the time, they want to do things the smart way. They don't want to do it the hard way, right? So if you want to go out and grow your sides, if you find that I've just come too far, I don't want to cut my hair, then go ahead. This video can't help you. But if you're somebody who's trying to preserve, your image, you're trying to look and feel as confident as possible, just being yourself, then you might want to take this advice. Now, what happens if you're over a year of hair growth, but your hair still isn't super long to hide it, right? I think this way you could probably go 50-50 because even if you're not able to use like 2-strand twists or box braids to hide your hair, you might be able to get away with your afro because your hair will still be able to braid. you've already reached braiding length, right? So now it's just gonna kind of suck, but you can kind of just like coax your hair, the short hair, into your afro. Like if you pat down the rest of your hair, right? If you pat down the rest of your hair or use shrinkage to your advantage, you could just make it seem like you just have a shorter fro. Like you may have like a year of hair growth, but it looks like your hair is 6 months long because of the shrinkage, but it looks put together because it looks like it's an all in one fro. So you could kind of go 50-50 here, or you could go and cut your hair again, like I said. But in this, like, I would say between a year to, let's say, 2.5 years, maybe, you could still do it. It's a 50-50. You could grow it out or you could cut it off. It's your choice, but you'll probably have to stick within that afro. But keep this in mind. Keep this in mind, right? That's for when starting out. All you have to do, wherever you grow out your sides, all you have to do is make it to 6 months. Why? Once you get to 6 months, the short hair should be long enough to braid into the longer hair. After that, just do cornrows, my dude. At the beginning of the month, get cornrows. You know, you're gonna wash, moisturize, blow dry your hair, whatever. Get cornrows. Do your scalp care. Keep those cornrows in for anywhere between 3 to 4 weeks. That's what I'm doing right now. These cornrows I've had in for a week. I might have to take them out of 2 weeks, but that's only because I have to create content, right? But otherwise, I would just keep these in here or get 2-strand twists. Keep that in there so it's easier to maintain. You won't have to be combing your hair. You won't have to be picking out your hair. And the number one point out of all of this is once your sides are able to braid into the longer hair, nobody can tell you are growing out your sides. That completely gets rid of the main deterrent from a lot of guys. Let me tell you, when I first started doing this, you guys will remember, I said online, over 300,000 people saw this, that I would never grow out my sides. And one of the reasons I gave was, why would I choose to look stupid for 3 years? My hair was 3 years long at the time. Why would I choose to look stupid for 3 years when I could just cut off my hair and start from the beginning and at least look normal for those 3 years? At that point, I did not have this plan in my head. I didn't have this realization, this epiphany, that all I had to do was look stupid for 6 months. And then I could just braid it into the short hair and then nobody would know. And then eventually I could trim it to the same length, but I didn't have to look stupid. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I'm about a year. I think I'm at 15 months. I think I'm at 15 months right now. And yeah, it looks like the back is short, right? But it's just because my longer hair is in the shorter hair, right? So right now, I'm at about like 15, 16 months in to growing my undercut. And you can't tell. It just looks like my hair is shorter than how it actually is now. At this point in my hair journey, I don't really care about length like that. I've already done as much as I want to. Most of these videos are to help you guys out. So once you get to that 6 point mark, that 6 month mark, is cruising. So what we've established, if you are anywhere less than a year of hair growth, or you cannot hide the growth with your long hair, just restart. Just restart. If it's the first year, I get it. It sucks, but it's going to be better in the long run. If you're between 1 year and 1.5 years, it's 50-50. You could choose to restart if you have the patience, or you can go in. You could go in and grow your sides, but you might have to just be blending it into your afro because your protective styles may not be able to hide the style for you. Now, if you're anywhere between 2.5 years and up, grow out your sides. Trust me, I know it's gonna suck for 6 months, but it's gonna be even worse for you if you sacrifice those 3+ years of experience, 3+ years of hair growth, just to start from ground zero, when all you could do is suffer for 6 months. And then basically you look fine. You look fine for the rest of it. You don't even have to worry about it like that. But these are my tips. These are my methods or my advice for when it comes to growing out your sides versus actually restarting. Now, a little bonus information. I know I told you guys that I would make a separate video when it comes to growing out your sides the smart way. But when you're going through this growth process, do not get any haircuts. And you're gonna be like, Tyler, hold on, that's really obvious. If I'm growing out my sides, why would I get a haircut? Because some of y'all like to get low tapers, mid tapers, or y'all wanna look good or whatnot. So you think, okay, let me get a little haircut, a little taper. That can't hurt, right? Especially if it's really low. Wrong. All right. There's some barbers that I wouldn't trust to give me a high fade, and you're gonna go around trusting them to give you a low taper and not mess up your progress, bro. Let me tell you, the barber's job is to make you look good. Your barber's job is not to look out for your hair journey 5-6 years down the line. Not even 5-6 years down the line, 2 years down the line. The barber only sees right now what's in front of him. They're like, okay, this guy came in for a cut. Let me get him right. Let me make sure he looks good. Get his line up. Make sure that this blend is blurry. Right? They're not thinking about 6 months down the line when your hair starts to grow longer and longer and longer, and then they're chipping away at progress down here. So the hair that's here is shorter than the hair that's here. And that could be noticeable when you start to get styles like 2-strand twists, cornrows, because now the hair that's by your temples and whatnot is extremely short, and you can't even pull it into the braid. And now you got a problem. right? So if you're growing out your sides, only get lineups. Only get lineups. It's only 6 months. Trust me, bro. It's only 6 months. If you follow my advice and you just hide it 90% of the time, you will be good. It's only 6 months that you have to look a little bit scruffy for, and you're gonna be hiding it most of the time. And then after that, you could get your hair braided and let the whoever, if you want to get low taper, let the braider part out the part that should be cut off. So that means all the hair that's long will stay long and stay around the same length, and the hair that you want cut will be cut off. Now, a lot of you have decided to grow out your hair because you want to improve your looks. You want to look good, you want to feel good, you want to have that confidence, and that's all great and dandy. But another key thing when it comes to looking good on a regular basis is your skin. You want to pay attention to your skin. So I want you to watch this video next where I go over the complete blueprint on how to get perfect skin. I go into all the detail that you'll ever need, and I just get rid of everything else that is fluff and that you don't need to bother learning or worrying about. So make sure that you go and watch this video next. That's all for me, and I'll see you guys in the next video.